Orca is a vision-impaired artist and songwriter who's with us here just now. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you? It's an honor to be here.
I'm doing great as well, and it's an honour to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
Now, how would you describe the style of the music that you make, first of all?
Well, I fell in love with hip hop, R&B, pop music from a young age. And as you already know from my bio, my mother tongue is not English.
Yeah.
It's actually Arabic, but English is a second mother language for me. And I've been in love with that kind of music since I was a child. Like, I didn't care about Arabic music or about any other type of music.
Yeah, and it's always good to do what you want to do and not what's sort of expected of you, I suppose.
Correct. Right now, like, I'm considered a rare case. That is correct.
And being vision impaired, how does that affect the way you make music? Because I guess it probably doesn't help, right?
Correct. Like I said, it is a very rare case, and I am considered unique because, first of all, I suffer from two conditions, two in one. One is called coloboma with a C, which affects your eyesight, and basically your eye cells started deteriorating until you wake up one day with no sight at all. And the second condition is called retinal detachment, which describes the retina hanging by a very thin tissue, and it might fall anytime, anywhere, any day. So when it falls, also there's no sight at all. I will lose my sight completely. Like any serious bump to the head, any serious fall, any sudden movement. So that is really difficult. And when it comes to music creating, basically I write my own lyrics, I record my own vocals, and try to do what I can.
Yeah.
And then I send the song that I'm working on to a certain producer that I work with. He goes by the name Larry O. And he basically puts the final touches on the final product.
Yeah. And they say, don't they, that if you're blind or deaf or anything like that, your other senses are heightened. So do you have a better hearing than the average person and maybe makes you a better musician as a result of that?
That is correct. Like most musicians rely on visuals when they mix and master their music, basically. Like they rely on values and numbers and stuff like that. But when I usually record and start doing the basic mixing, I do this by ear.
Yeah. And I guess how does it work? Because, you know, if you wanted to play a piano or any kind of instrument really, you can't see what notes you're playing. So I guess you have to know what you're feeling in a way.
Correct. Like I took some piano lessons a while back, and I've been in several concerts. When you need to play a specific note or a specific symphony, my usual approach was to memorize it by heart. So that I don't need to look at the notes in front of me because there is no point. I won't be able to see them.
That's
so
true.
My approach was to memorize it by heart.
Yeah, and Paul McCartney can't read music, and he did all right for himself.
Yeah, that's correct.
So what made you want to release music in the first place then?
Well, what made me want to release music is my passion, my love for music. Well, first of all, I started as a writer. Like I started writing short stories, novels, poetry, stuff like that. Basically, the process of creation is very fascinating when you want to create a certain atmosphere within your imagination, and then you need to translate this into words and then into a place where the reader can visit as they go. But music is more than that, because in writing, you are somewhat limited. When you're recording music, you can use your voice and not only your words. And basically, you have more tools to use, like certain effects or certain melodies and stuff like that. So this has really been very fun for me so far. Like I've been releasing music for the past 10 months. And it's been really fun.
And when you're recording music in your own name rather than writing, you get all the credit as well.
Correct.
And you say that you've been doing music for the last 10 months, recording it. So all that time has been during a global pandemic. So how's that affected the way you've been doing things?
Well, it didn't affect me like as much because locally the kind of music that I like and that I record is not that much acceptable. Because I live in a traditional kind of community. So So people who like, for example, stick to Arab music, like Hebrew music, because I live in Israel as well.
Yeah.
So this kind of music has a very, very, very small audience. And when I first started in January, I started looking for people to help me out, like locally, and like producers, labels, and others. But they decided to judge me based on my disability, and they decided to call me like a waste of time, have zero talent. And they decided to stay away from me. And that is why I decided to look for people to work with abroad.
Yeah.
So basically now I do most of the work myself. Like I manage my social media, I have a website, and I try to do the advertising. And my current goal right now is to get as much support as possible so that I can concentrate only on writing and recording music.
Yeah.
Because, you can't spread yourself too thin. And then there's the pressure of all the other activities on the entire process. It's very tiring.
Yeah.
And I'm currently struggling financially, but I'm trying as much as possible to not let that stop me from doing what I love the most, because I'm married and I have 4 kids. So I would like to support myself and them through my music.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of great that you're doing a lot of the stuff on your own rather than the people that didn't believe in you, because you're not going to have to pander to anyone and you can make exactly what music you want.
That is correct. Like, I'm trying to build a certain structure. Like, as I mentioned before, like there is this beat maker that I communicate with. He's from London.
Yeah.
He goes by the name Fliptunes Music. He gives me the beats that I need to use per month. I get my beats from him. I listen to the beat. Then the words started flowing in my mind. And then I visualize myself recording, adding effects, so that when the moment of truth comes, the moment of truth when you stand behind the mic, you don't have to like dawdle or think, what should I do next? And all that kind of things. So I prepare my music, and then I send the polished product that I did all I can on to Lario, so that he can basically put the final and finishing touches on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you hope to achieve with your music then?
Well, what I hope to achieve is to spread my music as much as possible so that more people can listen to my music and enjoy it. I don't know if you got the chance to check my social media yet, but I like promote myself as a vision impaired artist / songwriter who's looking to build a community where people can enjoy awakening their inner passions and share the music that I create with their loved ones. So my dream is to build this kind of community where people can support me and can enjoy what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. That whole idea of promotion by people telling a friend or family members sounds so basic, but actually it seems to work quite well.
That is correct. But in my case, most people around me don't care about the music that I create. So I have to rely on like paid adverts and all that kind of things. So it is really difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And where do you see yourself in the future? Are you hoping to be well known or maybe get out of this financial trouble?
Well, I hope so. I hope so. Like I'm trying to do my best at the moment. Like I mentioned before, building the structure, getting people around me, people that can support me and can help me overcome what I'm facing right now.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, in the music industry, there is not thousands, not hundreds of thousands. There is millions of artists out there.
Yeah.
And the competition is very hard. So you need to come up with things that makes you stand out more and attracts people to you more. Like I told you before, I write my own lyrics, I record my own vocals, I come up with the ideas for the artwork, for everything that is music related.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make myself stand out as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you come up with the name Orca, by the way?
Well, this may come as a surprise, but the condition that I mentioned at the start, I was born with it. It is incurable. So I took it upon myself since I was a kid to challenge myself and overcome every obstacle that comes my way. So this may come as a surprise, but I used to be a very successful soccer / basketball player. And when the time came, I had to retire early. So the nickname they gave me was Orca, because orcas, like they see, but their sight is weak, is irrelevant, because they rely on echolocation, on their hearing, on sound in order to move around. And I was the striker on my team. So the astonishment was, when you're blind and you can score, and you can basically do things that are impossible. So that is why the nickname my teammates gave me was Orca.
Yeah.
And I am still called Orca until this day.
Yeah. And I suppose if you called yourself the killer whale, it could be a bit scary.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah. And who would you say have been some musicians that you've looked up to over the years?
Let's see. There are a lot of influences throughout my life.
Yeah.
But I would say the most amount of impression came from T-Pain when he first started in 2007. He was my main influence. Like, I wanted so bad to be like him and to try to release or create this kind of music that he does. And then Chris Brown came around. There is Ludacris, there is Jason Derulo, there is Florida. All this old generation of artists I was very attracted and amused by. But in my family, music is something that you should not spend your time on because, like I told you, I come from a very traditional kind of family. So music is a no-no. Yeah. And when I wanted to take private singing lessons or music lessons, they were always against it. I did everything behind their back. I am self-taught, by the way. Everything that I now know is via YouTube or any kind of other videos that I can find. So it is very difficult because my parents and my family are still against me until this day. Wow. So I am hoping to be able to prove to them that music isn't a waste of time, isn't a waste of space. It is actually something that everyone can do and everyone can benefit from, let's say.
And I suppose maybe when you were younger, seeing a vision impaired artist like, I don't know, Stevie Wonder, would that make you think, hang on, if they can do it, then so can I?
Well, in my country, in Jerusalem, the one that was talked about the most was Stevie Wonder. Yeah. And I didn't know about him until I was 15. So it was really a surprise for me. It was surprising because I thought that people who are vision impaired cannot do things like music. But then I reminded myself of the things that I used to do, like vision impaired people don't play soccer or basketball as well. So so what the hell?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Beethoven was deaf as well. And he managed to make music, which would be even harder.
Correct.
Well, where are we able to have a listen to your music if we'd like to check it out?
Well, currently I am on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud. My music is also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And I also run my own website.
Well, thanks very much for joining us here on the show today. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you so much. And I hope that as many people as possible can listen to this and that I really succeeded in spreading my message and bringing attention to myself and my music through you. So thank you so much.